Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavasi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Dayakaram Dayakaram, Dantam Dharma Pravartakam, Pranamami Dayanandam, Madhacharya Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vedo Nityamadhiyatam Tadudidam Karma Swanushtiyata Tene Shasya Vidhiyata Apachiti Kamye Matistyakshata Papauka Paridhuyata Bhavasukhe Doshonusandhiyata Atme Cha Vyavasiyata Nijagrahat Tonam Vinirgamyata Sangasatsu Vidhiyata Bhagavato Bhaktirdridadiyata Shantyantif Parichiyata Dridataram Karmashu Santyajyata Satvidvanupasripyata Pratidinam Tatpaduka Sevyatam Brahmekaksharamatyatam Shruti Shiro Vakyam Samakaryatam Vakyarthascha Vicharyatam Shruti Shira Pakshasamaashriyatam Dustarkat suviramvyatam Shrutimatas tarkonusandhiyatam Brahmevasmi vibhavyatam Maharahat garva parityajyatam Deheham matirujyatam Buddha-janairvadah parityajyatam Kshudvyadishcha chikitsyataam pratidinam vikshaushadham pujyatam Swadvannam natu yachyatam vidivashat praptena santushyatam Shitoshnadi vishakyatam natu pritha vakyam samucharyatam Audasinyamadhipsyata janakripa naishthuryamutsrichyata Ekante sukhamasyata paratare chetas samadhiyata Purnatma susamikshata jagadidam tadbhaditam trishyata Prakarma pravilapyata chitibalan napyuttare slishyata Prarabdham tviha bhujyatam atha para brahmatmanastiyata Prarabdham tviha bhujyatam atha para brahmatmanastiyata So somebody had the doubt when we finish 40 steps, because we are still only on the first. So what I usually do, my style of teaching is like that. I like to focus on what is important. So all these first steps are extremely important as a way of life. Brahma Jnanam and everything is the vision of Vedanta. But there is a lifestyle, there is a process that is unfolded in the Shastra, and that is also emphasized a lot in all of the texts. So the first few steps of Sadhana Panchakam include the way of life, especially for people living in the world, which most of you are living in the world. These are the ones that will really benefit. So that is why I'm spending more time. We saw yesterday, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam, the whatever the subject matter of Veda is, should be studied. May it be studied, may it be absorbed. Then Karma Swanushthiyatam. We saw that one of the major subjects of Veda is karmas, how to do various types of action. And we had seen Nitya, Naimitika, all of these type of karmas, which ultimately if they're done as karma yoga, they bless you in your spiritual pursuit. We had also seen that this karma, when it is done as an offering to Ishvara, and whatever results of the karma come as prasadam, that it will have the ability to purify the instrument to know. The instrument to know is the mind. So purification of mind is the consequence of living this type of lifestyle Adi Shankaracharya is talking about. And once I live this life, what happens? My kamya karma, kamya matistyajatam, the kamya karma starts reducing. Kamya karma, we saw, are desire prompted actions for self gratification. So, antakarana shuddhi is also a way of, it's also self gratification, but it is investment in future. Antakarana shuddhi doesn't come immediately. Chitta shuddhi is not overnight. It takes years to develop. So it is an investment or long-term investment, I would call it. Living this life now is for long-term. Self-gratification karmas are usually for short-term gains. I want to feel happy now, I gain this, I gain that. Relatively short-term, but this is long, spiritual life requires long-term planning. So when you're thinking of moksha, all of this, the purification of mind becomes important as a long-term gain. So all his kamya karmas also reduce. Then Shankaracharya says, Papaugav pari dhuyatam. Here he says that may the whole host of papas, all those karmas which produce unpleasant results, all those papas which have accumulated, wrong actions that have been done in the past producing unpleasant results, may they all be destroyed. So here we have to understand what he means here. May they all be destroyed. Absolute level of destruction is not possible. It is definitely not possible because there are so many millions and millions and millions of births one jiva is said to have had. You can imagine how much is in our Sanchita account. So millions of births we cannot even exhaust because we're constantly creating more karmas. So as I'm exhausting, I'm also doing more karma. So more karma pala is accumulating to me. So there is no way of exhausting karma by doing karma. That has to be clear. Then what is the way of absolutely destroying? Only through knowledge. Absolute destruction of your karmic account is only by recognizing Atma was never the karta. Atma was never the doer. The consciousness, my true nature, never does any action. Atma is like the light in this room, lighting up all actions. Does the light do anything to light up? It doesn't. Light lights up all the activities, light lights up all the objects in the room without performing any action. That is just like Atma. Atma consciousness lights up the body, mind, senses, lights up all the activities that I do in my life, lends existence, we can say also, to all my activities, and it doesn't do anything. So when I notion shifts to Atma, then I recognize I was never doing karma in the first place, right? It is like I'm here in this room and suddenly I recognize I'm the light. I'm the light, but I still see the physical body. I'm still pervading the physical body. Light is not outside this physical body. That light also pervades the physical body, but I am untouched by the body, mind, senses, actions. I'm untouched by everything happening to body, mind, senses. So, this is the absolute understanding of neutralization of papa. But what Shankaracharya is talking about in this step, because that is absolute step, this step is neutralize your reactions to papa karma. So when he says, may the papa karma be destroyed, we have to understand it clearly. May you destroy your reaction to unpleasant situations. That is what papa karma is. When it manifests anything unpleasant, any challenging situation, any situation that gives you sorrow, unhappiness, is only papa getting exhausted. In fact, if you see that, you will be thankful because Bhagavan is reducing papa count. I always say this. Spiritual seeker sees life very differently from other people. When I in unpleasant situations where I'm suffering, the knowledge should come into my mind. Bhagwan is actually helping reduce my papa account. Because we all come as Mishras into the world. We all have apart from our own surnames, we have the surname Mishra. Mishra means what? Mixture. Mixture of what? Every human being, mixture of Punya and Papa. Walking, talking Punya Papa, that is all we are. We're all mixtures. Some people have more punya, some people have more papa, but definitely people have both. So this whole experience of suffering, pain is actually reducing the papa karma I have to exhaust in this janma. So whatever suffering I go through, this is where I take it as prasadam. It is Bhagavat prasadam. That is what we saw in the previous verse. We have also inherited punya papa from our previous births. So people say, I haven't done anything in this life to deserve it. Maybe you have not done in this life, but from your previous body, you have inherited whatever was done in previous birth. Like you inherit from your ancestors, you inherit from previous life as well. It has come down. So here we have to understand that how do I neutralize my reaction to Papa? How do I destroy that Papa? Because where is Papa really experienced? Really, situation, if we see, nothing in the world outside is responsible. Everything in the world is as it is according to Ishvara's order. If I understand Bhagavan pervades the whole universe, then whatever is happening in the universe, in the world, is it not Bhagavan's wish? Is it not the order of Ishvara? Does he not know what he is doing? By my even wanting to say this should be like this should be like this, I'm actually saying to Bhagwan, no, I don't agree with what you're doing. I want it this way, right? That is what actually we're saying by wanting to change everything and everyone. And this is all, if we understand, this is Bhagwan's order. Everything that is, I'm saying, is in order. And of course, I can make changes. That is also within order. If something is very unpleasant, definitely we can make a change. Like if there's people suffering, I can't say, oh, it is all Bhagwan's order, it is your karma. That is not the reason why we're saying. If people are suffering, I can go and relieve their suffering. That is also within Bhagwan's order because that manifestation of compassion, manifestation of empathy is also Bhagwan manifesting through you. But here we understand that the world is only there, people are only there in my life to exhaust my karma. Everyone in my life who is brought into my life is there to exhaust my karma. You, in turn, are brought into their life to exhaust their karma. So, everyone around me, it's a divine design, supercomputer Ishvara has decided. We have no power over that. So situations are created because of Ishvara's order so that we can exhaust our punya and papa. So punya, when punya is triggered in me, in fact, I'm carrying in my karana shariram all the karmic account I carry, sanchita, in the karana shariram, causal body. What triggers our situations outside? So punya papa already there. What triggers something? Somebody says somebody insults me. Somebody says something very bad to me. I become very upset. I get hurt. That person is called nimitta. Nimitta means instrument. That person is only the instrument to trigger what you already are carrying. But what do? We blame that person. You did this, you did that. No, this is the fundamental error we make. We blame the world for our own exhaustion of papa karma. The world is not to blame. People are not to blame. Whole Jagat is nimitta for my papa to get exhausted. In fact, the people who are triggering me, triggering anger in me, triggering all reactions in me, are helping me exhaust my papa. I should thank them, actually. Thank you. If somebody is giving me sukha, situations are giving me sukha, happiness, then what? They're helping exhaust my punya. So actually, happy situation, my punya account is going down. People who praise me all the time are reducing my punya. So, it's not, they're not helping me so much. My punya account is going down. So this is a whole different way of seeing life. When you understand and assimilate this law of karma, then we can be more understanding of the world and of people, and we don't become victims of the world then. Otherwise, we're living in this victim mentality. World is always hurting me. People are always hurting me. I'm always getting hurt. And every world is to blame. Most people live like that. So once we realize that this is what is the whole setup here has been made by Bhagavan. Whole setup here has been created for this very, very, very fact. There's no other reason for creation. Bhagavan, in Shastra it says, the jiva's karma's clamoring for fulfillment is why Ishvara created the universe. So the setup of this creation is only for our karmic exhaustion. That is the reason. So everything is designed well. Sometimes when you run away from unpleasant situation, you think you have escaped it. You think you've escaped that challenging papa karma because you run away, you go somewhere else. Some people keep moving places because they can't. Oh, I'm not comfortable here. It's like this, it's like that. Then they move to some other place. Same thing happens. Because your mind is going with you everywhere. So even if you try and change the place, change situation, who is to say it is not going to be the same or even worse? So there's a saying in English, jumping out of the fire pan into the fire. So this sometimes when we think we made, oh, finally I got relief from this situation, we go, Bhagwan puts another situation there, which is even more big test. What is this? What does that show? You have to exhaust that papa karma. It doesn't matter on the place. You can move to the other side of Jagat and still have that papa karma to exhaust. So, what is the most intelligent way? This is where he says, Papogav pariduyatamev, destroy that papa. Don't allow the papa in. Don't allow that unpleasant situation. Learn not to internalize it. Like today in the meditation, we're discovering the basic person without any disturbance. Whatever life is, allowing it to be, not just in meditation, that meditation to translate into day-to-day living. That inner space should be there between the reactions and actions. Swami Dayananda beautifully said, we have to learn to act rather than react. We don't just sit quiet and become doormat for the world to do anything. That is also not the case. When we can act, we act prudently, but that is without the inner pressure, that is without the inner emotion that usually we display when we react to situations. So there's a very nice story. I like this story to explain this value. about a Stoic philosopher. So Stoicism was ancient in ancient Greece. You may have heard the word Stoic. People who are Stoic, they are very, they can take very challenging situations, unpleasant situation. It is actually called Stoic. You are very Stoic. And Stoic actually comes from a group of philosophers in ancient Greece who I feel have read Bhagavad Gita, because I feel Bhagavad Gita influence is fully there in their philosophy, And they have a lot of very interesting practices how to live in the world without getting affected by the world. Very nice. You should try and read some of their writings. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, all of these. They actually give action plan, how you can not internalize the external world. So there was a very famous Stoic philosopher who was very, practiced in this philosophy. And people actually get irritated as well. When you're always calm, you don't react, it sometimes irritates others. So there were some people who were irritated by his stoicism. So they try and trigger him. Let's see. So there was one man in Greece, he just said, I'm going to test him. So he abused him left, right, and center, insulted, all sorts of insults. This Stoic philosopher did not bat an eyelid. He was so calm, his demeanor, he did not change, extremely calm. And he kept on hurling all these insults, hurling all this abuse at him. Still, he was unmoved. However much he heard, he was unmoved. It frustrated this man even more. He's wondering, what is this? I'm telling the worst of things to this person. And in public, I'm shouting at him. He doesn't care. So he asked him finally, why do you not react to my insults? What is it that, how do you manage? Why do you not react? And then the philosopher, he calmly replies, if someone offers you a gift, if someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept the gift, to whom does the gift belong? It goes back to everything goes back to center. The giver of the gift, it returns. Same way, insult, abuse, anything. If I refuse to accept it, it goes back to the sender. So this is the way we learn not to see. Then Papa karma is not there. Papa is only experienced in my mind. Papa is my reaction to situations. It is not the situation itself. Same situation here. Normal people would have, oh, how can he say that to me? The subjective I would have got very hurt, would have got very injured, and sometimes may retaliate, because usually the human beings, as naturally we retaliate immediately, because ego defense. If someone attacks my ego, defend. Somebody attacks, defend. The ego cannot bear to just remain without defending. I have to defend somehow. I have to. This is why Vedanta makes you question: why do you need to defend? What is the reason for defense? You think you are that imposter I. That is why we need to defend. Here, Shastra is coming and telling you, you're defending the false you. Is that right? You're defending the shadow. If somebody comes and abuses your shadow, right? Your shadow walked across my on my garden. Your shadow should not have walked across my garden. What will I do? I will generally laugh. Ego is like shadow self. I will not. Why? If I'm identified with the shadow, what? No. My shadow did not fall there. My shadow didn't go near your garden. Don't blame my shadow. So immediately I will get involved with that shadow if I identify with it. If I recognize that I is like the shadow, it cannot affect me. I am the original. I am the one that lends existence to shadow. Whatever anybody says, why should it touch me? So it is all because of wrong identification. Again, coming back to misidentification, which Vedanta is there to correct. So Papa means that I don't allow things inside. That is how I destroy Papa in my life. Even though the situation outside may be seen as unpleasant, I need not make it unpleasant, because I practice to not internalize it. Papa also means that raga, dvesha, are neutralized. When papas are neutralized, raga, dvesha also, the two enemies of the mind, the two robbers of the mind, they are also neutralized. So raga, dvesha generally are responsible. Behind everything, my reactions in life, it is usually raga, dvesha. So reducing the papa means reducing raga, dvesha. Let the pairs of opposites come and go. We'll see in the next one of the next steps he talks about. Life is pairs of opposites. If you don't know happiness, will you know sorrow? If you know sorrow, if you don't know sorrow, will you know happiness? If you don't know defeat, will you know victory? Whole of the life is duality. We live in a duality filled world. It is dual world. Every experience is dual. But what Vedanta Shastra says is that despite duality, despite multiplicity, there is only one underlying adhisthana, that basis, that is Brahman, that lends existence to the dual experience. So, first of all, the sadhanas are for what? To get out of the dual experience. Samatvam yoga uchyate is what? Get out of this dual experience so you discover yourself to be the source of the dual experience. But if I'm always buffeted by dual experience in life, how can I get out of it? I cannot. I'll be stuck in that. So that is samsaric life. Here, as spiritual aspirants, we come out of samsara slowly through the lifestyle. Then finally, Atma Jnanam will give full knowledge and bless with the vision. So papogaf paridhuyatam. Don't internalize. Then he says, bhavasukhe dosho nusandhiyata. So this is another way of to keep oneself away from the hold of the world. Bhavasukhe. May you see the limitations. May you see the defects. All the defects, the limitations of what? All the life of sensory pleasures, living in worldly pleasure. Bhavasukhe means the samsara sukha. What does this samsara sukha give? Yeah, I often think, that when I think of samsara sukha, mother, father, when the baby is born, it is so, people say, we of course, we have not experienced that, but a lot of people say when the baby is born, there's so much joy, there is so much happiness, there is so much love, everything people feel, which is nice, but it is a samsara sukha because baby itself is teaching you. In fact, the baby is talking to you as soon as it comes out. How does it talk to you? It cries. It doesn't laugh coming into the world, right? Bhagavan doesn't design the baby. It's not coming and saying, hey, I'm here. I'm so happy. How do babies come into the world? They're screaming. They come out screaming because, oh my God, I'm born again. That baby is talking to you. I've come back into this jagat again. Here we are in this jagat thinking, oh, so beautiful, cute little baby. After teenage years, we'll see how cute it is. But for a few years, that baby is so cute. It is so enjoyable. I enjoy it. And we have that samsara sukha. Then what happens to samsara sukha? Starts diminishing, right? It is called the law of diminishing returns. The same baby that gave me so much happiness in 2 years' time is screaming. They call it terrible two, I think. Swamiji used to say terrible two. The ego starts developing. So tantrums and, so much people have to go through. And we find slowly it's the law of diminishing returns. So here in this step, Bhagavan says, Adi Shankaracharya says, be aware of limitations of this samsara sukha. So many things are there to gratify us in this world. So many things are provided for us, but they are all temporary. First of all, we have, we have a list of things, even Shastra discusses, but you can have your own list. They are never predictable. So you can't predict when you're going to have, very difficult to predict that. You don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to happen, but you're looking for happiness to happen. It may not happen. It may happen. So first of all, it's not predictable that it will happen, right? That is number one. Then you have to have the availability of the situation. You have to have the availability of the object to give you happiness. Sometimes you want that object's not available. You want that situation not available. So that also is limitation here. And you have the object with you, and the situation is conducive. But what happens? I'm mentally depressed. So mind is not able to enjoy. I have everything. We see people with, with very rich people, wealthy people, they have everything. All the comforts, everybody looks at them as, wow, look at that. They're billionaires. They have this, they have, huge homes, they have servants, they have people falling at the feet, all of this, all the world's idea of success. They have everything. But what do we find? Often when you read, good to read their biographies, they're miserable, many of them miserable, because mind is not available to enjoy. So you can have everything in life. If the mind is not available to enjoy, then what is the point? So this is also limitation, bhavasukha, limitation of bhavasukha. And one, when I fulfill desire, we've seen desire is called fire. Why is it called fire? Analaha is a name for fire. Analaha, never satiated. Analaha means never ever satiated. The more I fulfill the desire, the more desire increases. So it's like it becomes huge. See, I fulfill one desire, I think it's finished. Then what happens? More comes, more comes. So it is never ending. Annalaha. In Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya says, dosha drishtya vishaya bratad. Bring the mind away from this this Vishaya Brata, this wind of the senses that takes you away, the Vishayas, the sense objects that take your mind away. Withdraw from this great pull of the sense pleasures. And withdraw from it. How withdraw? Not forcibly, because some people, they have this idea in spiritual life, I should not do this, I should not have that. No, only one idli, I should not eat more idlis. There's so much, even more complex as you develop in spiritual pursuit with sadhanas. There are people like that. No, I'm not supposed to talk today's monam. Don't talk, and then you write. I've seen people in monam, they say I'm in Monam today in ashrams, and all they do is so much pressure. They talk like that. And then they try to they know they can't open their mouth, but there's so much pressure. They're making all sorts of noises. Finally, they write so much down and they show you, there was one lady, she used to keep writing. This is not Monam, because you already have that pressure inside. Monam is reducing pressure. The idea of Monam is to reduce inner pressure to say or do anything, right? So by forcing things, that is also not going to work. You can't force the mind away from sense pleasures. It should naturally drop off. That is the way. And how will it drop off? Dropping off is through knowledge. More and more you see the limitations, you're not interested in anymore. When you see the limitations, vairagya starts coming. So that's why he's saying here as well, see the limitations, the vairagya will increase. And he's Adi Shankaracharya in Viveka Chudamani, he adds an extra word. Muhur muhuhu, again and again and again and again, not just one day. Now, Mondays I will keep without sense pleasures. No, every day, muhur muhuhu. So, what are the defects? Some defects from the Shastra we have sadhishayatvam, sense pleasures, sadhishayatvam. Any sense object will be subject to improvement. So whenever I always use iPhone as, it's very interesting. iPhone is a very good way of explaining this. What dual number have we got? iPhone 15, 16 now? How many we have gone through? 1, 2, 3, 4. Every month they release a new model, right? I don't see much difference. But Sati Shaitam, when one model is out of, it's old, the next one comes and you're already feeling bad. Oh my God, and mine is only 12, already 16 has come. So everything is subject to improvement. And the world, if you look at businesses, they have a way of fooling the mind, right? That it's something better. iPad, this one, that. I'm not against Apple, by the way, so I'm just using an example. But you look at everything, it is all subject to improvement. Everything keeps changing. Even in the last 20 years now, AI has come into the picture, everything else is becoming obsolete. So many things keep improving. So sadhya, one thing will not satisfy you forever, because when the next thing comes, your interest in this old model will go, right? You want the next one. So this is how the world, you have to see, keeps your mind interested in fulfilling more and more desire. Then atripti karatvam, it is not fully satisfying. Nothing fully satisfies. For a while you feel satisfied. How come? Because actually what happens when you fulfill desire? Your mind is resolved for that moment. The object that you are after for so long, finally you get that object, has become yours. You experience the object. Shastra says there is a sukha when you observe the object you love. Then there is a sukha when you get the object you love. And there is even a greater sukha when you experience the object you love. But what happens? After experiencing the object you love, should you not be fully tripti? Should you not be fully happy, content? No, you're not. Because object does not have the ability to give you full satisfaction. Atripti karatvam. And what is the logic that shows me that object did not fully satisfy? Because I get bored with it. Then I go after another object. If I'm fully satisfied with what I have got, will I ever look for something else? No. But we go looking for other things. So, atripti karatvam, it is not, happiness is not in that object. It is sapekshitvam. Sapekshitvam means to gain anything, sense pleasure in the external world, you have to lose something, either in the form of money or some type of loss has to be for the gain. Biggest gains require the biggest losses as well. Okay, so life works like that. Nothing comes for free in this world. There's a saying in English, it is true, nothing ever comes for free. So if you want to enjoy something, it is called sapekshitvam. There will be an equal loss. You have to be ready to face that. And it's bandhakatvam. Any sensory pleasure, sense objects have the ability to bind you. They will not allow you to live without them. So, meaning they are not saying don't live without me. You cannot live without them. You cannot do without them. That is how addiction, all of this happens. You need that object constantly to feel good. If that person or object or situation is not there, what happens? Again, I'm low, right? So that is called binding, bandha. And sense objects, sense pleasures have the ability to bind you. And Bhagavan very beautifully says in the Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, 22nd verse, Yahi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkhayonaya evate adyantavantah kaunteya nate shuramate buddhaha. Yahi samsparshaja bhogaha. Whatever pleasure is born from the senses, everything has a potential to give you pain. This is very interesting. Dukkha mishritvam. The same object, pleasures that give you joy, have inbuilt ability to give you pain as well. We see that in the world, especially in relationships. People, when you're freshly married, you're in love and everything, well, some people. So after a while, what happens? Same thing gives pain, right? Same object can give you pain because inbuilt. Same thing, even if things you eat, you love sweets. You love sweet all your life. You've been eating sweet, sweet, sweet. Same object, if you eat, after becoming diabetic, if you eat it, gives you not so good effect. So everything is inbuilt like that. Whole Jagat is built like that. Everything gives you pleasure, can give you pain as well. And Bhagavan says here, the wise people do not revel in sense pleasures. The wise people, Buddha, they don't revel because they know Adyanta, Adi, and Anta. There is a beginning for it, there is an end for it. So just enjoy while it lasts and get on with the life. Go on to the whatever prarabdha unfolds. So this is what the Shastra talks about, seeing the limitations. And once you start seeing the limitations, what happens to the mind? Vairagya starts dawning automatically. You don't need to force vairagya. Vairagya means dispassion, not detachment. You can't detach from anything. Dispassion. Your passion is reduced for everything. You become more calm. You become less rajasic. So again, sattva guna, everything to encourage sattva guna in the mind. So again, moksha marga becomes very easy to follow if I start seeing that vairagya, if I start understanding vairagya is the key and I get that dispassionate mind is a non-demanding mind. So I start, seeing that the world has no possibility of bringing what I really want. The world has no possibility of giving me the joy, the satisfaction, the happiness that I really desire, that I really seek. It can give me moments of pleasure, and moments of pleasure are only triggered in me. What I love is not really the object. What do I love? I love the pleased self. Shastra says what you really love, Parama Premaspadam, you love yourself. When you experience pleasure, you experience the self. In that moment, the self is reflected in a vritti. It's called Shanta vritti. It is reflected in the form of happiness, contentment, and it's only a reflection because it is coming and going. The real Shanta, absolute peace, never comes and goes. But what we want is that again and again we go after because we think this is it. So this is what Vairagya is. Vairagya brings you that peaceful, objective thinking in life. I'm more objective about the world. This can give me this much alone, and I'm not going to go after it. So now the knowledge kicks in when you go into a shopping mall. With Vedanta, it'd be interesting to go shopping with people who have studied a lot of Vedanta. So you just go in and first of all, your eyes may be attracted, to a dress or something like that. Then what the knowledge should kick in. I heard in class. How long is it at Triptikaram? How long will I enjoy that dress? Sari? How long will it last? All of this doshas, it's true. Knowledge has to come and bless you in those moments when you're living your life. Then your cupboard size will definitely reduce. Everything in the house will definitely reduce. All objects kept in the home will reduce. And actually, you'll find more space in the house. It is very nice to have a lot more space, right? Simple living. Simple living, high thinking is the key in spiritual life and also brings you a lot of contentment. So, real success in life is to discover yourself to be without any lack, and that comes when you relatively feel, I have enough. You have to relatively feel, I have enough. I'm content with whatever I have. I don't need anymore. I don't need to store things for 100 years and think I need them in future. So much is stored. So big, spring, we call it in England spring cleaning. Spring clean, they do that, in spring. They're meant to clean out everything and recycle. So generally things are recycled. And it's a very, very good way to have. So this is a beautiful value, understanding that what I really love is myself. When the mind resolves, the seeker me, when I discover the sought becomes me, the seeker resolves, and that is what I love. I don't like that seeking all the time, looking. It's a pressure. So that is what it means. Object becomes priyam to you. There's a famous verse, Asti Bhati Priyam. As every object has priyam in it. Every object has the ability to please. But when I say, I love my car, I love my wife, I love my husband, I love my son, I love my daughter, what does it really mean? I love myself in your presence. That's what you're saying. I love myself when you are there. It is not that person. What you really love is yourself. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Very, very important. In fact, that line brought me to Vedanta when I first heard. It's a very big line. Everything is loved for your own sake. Nothing is loved for the other person's sake. When you say, I love you, it is not the other person you love yourself when that other person is there. So it is the self that is loved. Unconditional happiness comes only from your very self. So once I discover this, that the world has no ability to give me what I want, the next step is natural. Adi Shankaracharya says, Atme cha vyavasiyatam. May the desire for that self, that unconditional happiness, Atma, may that desire be entertained, may it grow more. It should become much, much more prominent. Atmecha vyavasiyatam. And as I was saying yesterday in the satsang, it is a desire. We cannot say it's not a desire, but it is Shubha Icha. It is the desire, the most auspicious desire. It comes in a sattvic mind. So when the mind is made very sattva, and there is a very strong desire, having dispassion for the world, not through disgust. So it's not jihasa vairagya, because there is another type of dispassion, disgust. My mother-in-law so naggy, I just want to be in the home. I want to go off somewhere. Swamiji used to say that people who used to come to him and say, I want to take sannyas, Swamiji. I'll go north, I'll go to Himalayas and sit there. Too much, this whole world life, too many problems, let me go and sit sannyas. So, he often used to say, even if you go on the train journey, you think you have left all these people who are irritating you all your life. You are carrying with all of them at getting free ride on the train in your head. They're all getting free tickets to go to Himalayas. And they will also be sitting with you when you are meditating. Because you won't be able to get them, they're already in your head. You won't be able to get them out of the head. When you're meditating, they will come. All the problems will come. So you cannot escape through jihasa. Vairagya never works. When it is jihasa vairagya, definitely everything will come back to you. When it's jnasa vairagya, out of knowledge, dispassion, non-attachment is through knowledge, then it is permanent, it lasts. Because you have done inquiry. That's why Vedanta beautifully shows you how to do inquiry. How do you inquire? So you increase the dispassion naturally. That is how. And when dispassion for the external world increases, passion for Atma increases. So it's concomitant, it goes up. So especially if you know about Atma. I mean, there can be a dispassion for the world and there can be depression as well. Lord Rama, we see in Yoga Vashishta, as well. Rama also experienced that total dispassion. But when there's no teaching, there's no direction, very difficult because you get very depressed. Because some people are like that, they don't enjoy what the world is. They just don't have enjoyment in sense pleasures, and they get very low and depressed. That is where yoga, Vashishta came and taught Rama about Atma. So we are extra lucky that with dispassion comes knowledge. So you have your mind focused somewhere. Where is the mind focus now turned to Atma? Self-knowledge is the key. We know that nothing else is going to satisfy us. And that is why it's called Shubha Icha. It is commitment. Shubha Icha is a commitment for self-discovery. I've made it my life journey now, the goal of my life, moksha, Atmajnanam, Atmecha, all of these are synonyms. This is what I really want in my life. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna calls this Vyavasayatmika Buddhihi. Very beautiful word, because Bahushaka Hyanantascha. There are many, many things in this world. Anything, even in the spiritual realm, you can go spiritual shopping. India is the place for spiritual shopping. Ashram hopping, spiritual shopping, and go from one place to another. This guru teaches this guru gives this, so many things. So we have to be clear, what is it I want? Moksha is the goal. We saw jnanameva mokshaha. So jnanam is the key to discovering the self. So atmecha, I'm very, very clear about my pursuit, and I know that self-ignorance has created all the problems in my mind. Self-ignorance is the problem. And I developed this sattva predominant thinking more and more. So my desire, my commitment to Atma is for until I discover the goal. So it is not going to drop off. I have to keep saying it daily. Muhur muhuhu, ahar ahar, all of these words that are used in the text, it means a repeated practice to see, even if it is the same thing I'm seeing daily, it is repeated practice. I have to see that. Then the spiritual pursuit gains more momentum now. The steps move on, very beautifully. They flow on to the next one. So Nijagriha Turnam Vinirgamyatam. Literally, this means may you quickly leave your home. Okay, that's a little drastic. That's very drastic. So we have to understand it's not running away from home. But he says, leave your home means what does the home represent? We have to see what does the home represent. Home is the last place where you are invested emotionally, right? Home is everything else you have dispassionate, you have dispassion for everything external. Where do you still have passion for? Home. You have passion for the children. You want of course, we want the children to do well. We want the children to settle well. All of this is a natural desire. But until what age are we going to settle the children? We have to understand what generally there's an age given for adulthood, right? 18 in the West, it's usually 18. In US, it's 21, right? Some places, but there is no particular age when children become adult. But there has to be an age where you let go. There has to be an age where parents have to learn to let go. Let go meaning not that you're indifferent, not that you're uncaring, not that you don't love, but there has to be a time where you say, you have your own path in life. Bhagavan, I'm returning you to Bhagavan, who gave you to me as a managing trustee. I'm a managing trustee only, not owner of you. We make very clear we are not owners of our children. We are managing trustees of our children. The sense of ownership alone will not allow me to grow. The sense of ownership means I will be invested in their life until they go off. Until 50, 60, I'll still be, especially, I'm sorry to say, in Indian families, this happens. At 60, the son will come and still ask the mother, should I do this? Should I not do this? And it's nice to have the respect. We're not saying there's no respect. Respect is there, but there has to come a time where each one is there connected to Bhagavan. All relationships in the world are incidental relationships. Incidental means they come, they go. Only one fundamental relationship is there, that is with Bhagavan. So as I go through life, when the children are at an age where they can make their own decisions, I have given everything. I have brought them up, given value system, given the way to live the life, and they have to make their choices now. I cannot do choosing for them and spend my whole life, rest of my life, living through my children. This is where this is what Adi Shankara is saying here in this line, Nijagriha Turnam Vinirgamyatam. Come out of it. You have developed now spiritual bent of mind. Come out of this thinking that I have to keep, my grandchildren need me, this one needs me, that one needs me, then we will never come out. We'll be in the thing again and again. No, there has to be a break-off point. And that's why he's giving very drastic step even after the first verse. Can you imagine? This is the 8th step in spiritual life. 8th step in spiritual life is actually coming out of the house. So that is how much investment is required in spiritual growth. And nobody can do it for you. You cannot have somebody proxy, I don't know about here, but in England, if you can't vote in elections, you have a proxy voter. So you can give your vote to somebody else to do. Here, you can't have proxy spiritual success partner. Somebody else, you hand over no, I take up my grandchildren, you meditate on my behalf. you do all the tapas, you do the fasting tapas on my behalf. I will just be with my grandchildren and everything. No, everybody has to do themselves. Whole spiritual life is the lonely life. It is a life which is not easy, but it is a fulfilling life ultimately. Somebody said spiritual life is like poison at the beginning, but nectar at the end. Worldly life is like nectar at the beginning, poison at the end. So we can choose. If you want nectar at the beginning, fine, you can choose that. If you want poison you're willing to consume poison at the beginning, knowing, as I said, it's for future investment, then definitely nectar is there to be discovered at the end. So here, vinirgamyatam means reduce the sense of mindness in things in your house. Reduce that sense of this belongs to me, this is mine, especially with relationships. Let Bhagavan take care. Is he not taking care of everyone? Will he not take care of my children and my grandchildren? Of course he will. He is in charge. I am not actually. I'm just a co creator. I brought that being into the world. I had no knowledge of how everything happens. Bhagwan created. I'm just an instrument to bring. And that jiva, as individual jiva, it has its own prarabdha karma to live out. Every individual comes with own prarabdha karma. So I cannot live the prarabdha for the jiva, even though as parents we want to protect all natural. Of course, I will advise. If they come to you for advice, you're always there. If they come to you to help, you're always there. But the main thing now is at this moment, Nijagriha Turnam Vinirgamyatam, I say, I hand over those responsibilities to you, Ishvara. I give the children to you. I brought them up. They're settled. They're at an age where they can make their decisions. They are yours. They're your children. So we have finished the 8 steps now of Sadhana Panchakam. We'll see what he brings in next class. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhat Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om